Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Variety Hour. My name is Jon Pulino, and I'm usually the co-host of this great show. And Billy Wilson is not here tonight, but we have a wonderful show for you nonetheless. Tonight will be a Republican forum. All the people here are running for office, with the exception of Bob Stefarak, who is a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. At the end of the show, we're going to have Geno Cuddy on the show. He has his own show. Geno, I hope I said that right. I pronounced your last name right. But I'm sure I'll hear about it if I didn't. But we're going to talk about politics, and we're going to talk about, our slate, and we're going to talk about our Republican objectives as we go along. The phone number tonight will be 860-613-3031. That's 860-613-3031. We are taking calls, and one of my big things about doing live TV about the other side, the Democrats, is they don't take calls. And I know it's one of my OCD things, but I feel that they, as town leaders, they've been in charge of the government for a very long time. I mean, they've been in charge of the government since 1991. I feel they should take calls. It's just my feeling. I always mention it. I'm not trying to, dirty politics. It's a fact. They don't take phone calls. If I were somebody sitting out there watching the show, I would say, I would think to myself, first of all, I would say, I'm going to do fact check. I'm going to fact check Jon Pulino. And then I would go to their show. All their shows are on tape. They do not take calls.
They aren't live at all?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think they've done a live show. What do you think?
It hasn't been a while. But they used to, even when they did live shows, they didn't take calls.
They won't take calls. As a taxpayer.
So I mean, if you're not going to take calls, then why
be live?
Right.
Why do it live? You may as well take
Right.
it.
I mean, when you were mayor, you took calls on all the
If I was on a live show, I took calls.
Yeah, Bob's show, my show.
There were times that I used to tape the Straight Talk show with Ralph Wilson, and we taped that at an odd time.
Yeah, like at 1:30.
It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. You're not going to get much of an audience that's going to call in.
Right.
At that point, and because that's when Bob was available, that's when the studio was available,
Right.
and that's when our crew was available to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I came on any of these shows
Sure.
that were live, phone lines were open, people called in, we took the calls.
And it's funny, as mayor, I mean, I don't think you were ever nervous about a call. Yeah, I could be wrong.
No.
I mean, obviously,
you know what? If you're going to be nervous about a call, then find something else to do with
Right.
yourself. Because what are you going to do if a citizen confronts you on the street?
Sure.
You're going to try
Right.
and avoid talking to them? What if they come to your office? You're going to avoid talking to them?
Right.
There are many opportunities where citizens can ask you questions, and you have to be able to respect them enough to deal with their
Right.
question or their concern. So why not do it in this forum? I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, I've always been perplexed about that. That why, the Democrats always outnumber us. Usually they beat us in the elections, but they never take calls. I would be
outnumber
outraged.
us tremendously, but they don't beat us by much, and
Right.
I think that's a point that's not lost on them.
Right.
That I mean, I've always said that if people voted their registration in Middletown, and all of the Republicans came out and voted Republican, and half of the Democrats stayed home, and the other half came out and voted Democrat, we would lose by 2,500 votes every
Right.
time.
Because of the
Just
voting.
because of the numbers.
The
Just
makeup,
because
yeah.
of the numbers. We win.
Right.
We've shown that we can win,
Mm-hmm.
and even when we've lost, we've generally not lost by anywhere near the margin of registration. So
It seems that every 2 years or so they'd be getting closer a little bit here and there. I've noticed.
yeah,
I mean,
I think we've done better.
yeah. We're primarily on paper a Democratic town. We also have a lot of independents.
We have almost as many unaffiliateds as we do
Right.
Democrats. The Democrats usually have raise more funds than we do.
Sure.
It's easier to raise funds when you are the incumbent party as well.
Right.
Because the money goes to you. Interestingly enough, the moneyed interests tend to like the status quo. And the incumbent party usually represents the status quo.
Right. That's it.
I mean, people don't like, people who've got a lot of money invested in this, that, or the other thing have obviously made money because of the way things are. And
Right.
they don't want it to change.
They don't want that apple cart
Yeah,
kicked over.
right, exactly. So, I mean, and like I said, to the extent that, that incumbents, the incumbent majority party represents a continuation of what's been going on, if you profited from that, that's,
Right.
you don't want to see that change.
Of course not. Whatever your ideology is on the political spectrum, you're going to put your money where you think you can make more money or more influence, I would assume, right? So I just want to shift gears a little bit and talk about you personally, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I did some research, and I'm thinking that you were the third mayor in Middletown history to go back and be part of the legislation.
To go back to the council?
Yeah, I think you had Tom Serra, Stephen Giuliano, and I think you.
I think
Seb
Seb
Garofalo
Garofalo did it once.
Right. That's correct. So that's a very unique experience to go from executive branch to legislation branch. But you weren't the only mayor to be executive branch first, were you?
I don't think so. I don't know if, I'm trying to think.
Because your first elected office was executive.
Yeah, first thing office I won was mayor.
And those other guys, I think they were council persons.
I think they might have, I'm not sure if Seb Garofalo had been on the council the first time
Maybe
he
not.
won. He might not have been, but, I mean, I don't want to say no. I
Right.
know that Paul Gianfrido was a state legislator.
Right. But not part of the,
You know.
so he was part of the legislation on the higher level.
At the state
Yeah.
and became mayor. Steve Gianfrido had served on the Common Council. Dominique Thornton had served on
Yes.
the Common Council. I think Maria Holzberg came in from the outside,
Right.
but never went back to anything.
Right. So, and I've asked you this on the air before, and I've asked you this personally, but that must be very interesting to see, because you're mayor, 3-term mayor, and then you become a councilman 2 years after that. It's very holistic, I would think.
I have more of an appreciation for the council, I think, than
Right.
when I was mayor. I locked horns with the council a lot. And, I'm not going to say that none of it was partisan political, but some of it was probably just due to the fact that the mayor's office and the common council operate differently.
Sure.
The council is a very slow-moving thing.
Beast entity.
Right, it's a creature with 12 heads.
Right.
And it operates
Bob's
slowly.
laughing over.
It's meant to be a deliberative process where the mayor's office, the executive is meant to be efficient and operate and do things fast.
Right.
So that tension by itself is going to be there all the time.
Sure. All right, let me go to my right. Actually, I have two guests on my right. I have Linda Salafia, and I have Robert Stefarak. Let's go to Linda first. Linda, how are you?
I'm good.
Got a little coughing air.
Yes, if I don't start coughing again.
I don't know if you know this, but Linda did it the right way. She slowly got up, went around the camera, grabbed some water, and came back, and I don't think anybody knew. And I don't know why I revealed that. Stretch. But, so Linda, you served on the Common Council.
Yes, 2 years.
Right, and
One term.
you were very good with budgets, and you were very good at numbers because of your background. So now you're running again for council.
Yes.
What would you hope to accomplish if you were elected again, when you are elected again?
What would I hope? I would
Yeah,
hope
what's your-
for a better budget.
Okay. And how would
And
we do
better-
that? What would you do?
I would cut things.
Okay.
There were some things that I think that we need to perhaps hold off on, too. I think that we need to have a plan for our infrastructure and our buildings and our capital projects. We really need to address that, and I think some of the other feel-good things can probably wait a while.
Right. It's a difficult thing to say, to cut things, but it has to be. It's like a budget at home. You can't buy everything every time
Right.
something's advertised because it's the cool thing of the week, or that's very difficult. But at least you're very honest about this.
And there's needs and there are wants, and I think sometimes we want more than we need.
Right. So that you're talking from a very fiscal conservative point of view.
Yes.
Right. So would you say that now the spending is, well, you finished my sentence. What do you,
I think it's a little bit out of control.
a little bit?
A little bit.
All right. You want to finish up?
No.
Because I was going to talk to Bob.
Yeah.
Bob Stefarak,
Good evening, good evening.
In your
the
way.
host of The Diner,
Yeah. Sir.
the King of Westfield.
Well, let's put it another way. I remember one night I was walking up to the podium and our mayor, Mr. Giuliano says, here comes the mayor of Westfield.
Yep.
And then every time I walk by, the shit down the throat, everybody goes, hi, Mayor, hi, Mayor.
But you can't
But it
be,
was-
you never took an oath, so I have a problem with that. You were never sworn in as mayor of
No, they
Westfield.
don't want to, they swear at me, but I'm not.
Oh, right. But
But basically, really, it's an honor to be with you folks tonight, and I hope and pray that the 3 years get in on the council, and I think we're gonna get 5 more, because I think we need a change, and basically, I keep telling people this, and it comes from my heart, it's not the people, it's not their fault that's what's going on. It's our fault because we're the ones that are put them into office, and every time we do things, we bite our own butt, really, because we tell people one thing and we do another. I ran 6 years ago, I think it was, and I went down and I talked to people. I said, listen, basically I'm running for council. I can't do it by myself. I need help, and if we have enough help, that will be changes. So the people were telling me, oh yeah, well, we need change. Well, lo and behold, in November, they put the people back and they set it on my shoulder. You people want change, but why are you so scared to get change? Because it's good. You have change, it's healthier. It's more, you get more progress from it. Because if you keep keeping the same old thing, it gets stagnant. And basically, I think that we need a change. And I'm telling you, the people that are running for the Republican are really great people, and I think they do a lot for the city.
Right.
So I wish them a lot of luck.
yeah, and it's funny, you make a point about change. Well, another misconception about people running is I always hear, well, there's a Democrat mayor, and if the Republican council were, the majority, that would be a checks and balances. It doesn't really work that way. That's a misconception. I hear that a lot.
The check and balance is that there are different duties assigned
Right.
to the mayor and to the common council. There are exclusive functions that the mayor has that he or she, in a few months, doesn't need the council's permission to exercise.
It's like executive power per
Right,
se.
and likewise, there are prerogatives, they're exclusive to the
Right.
council, that the mayor can't interfere with. That's where your checks and balances are. That all of the governmental power isn't in one place.
Right.
It's spread out, it's separated out.
But would you agree that this administration, meaning the Drew administration, at times it seems that the legislative power, he may believe that he's got a little more
He's
legislative.
blurred the lines.
Yeah.
He's clearly, definitely blurred the lines between executive power
Sure.
and legislative power. And the majority caucus has let him get away with that.
Because it's their party.
Because, well, he's from their party. He's the governor's
Person.
favorite boy.
Yeah.
And if they were to cross him, they'd get a call from Hartford.
Right. It would be there would
Yeah.
possibly be a retribution. You may not, that person may not be running.
Well, it's already happened.
Yes, I know. Right, so,
It's already happened. I
So-
mean, they've chosen not to renominate Councilwoman Hope Casper.
right.
And I really don't understand that because, for the most part, she's been a pretty solid vote for her caucus.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the upside is
Yeah, it's,
to dropping her from their ticket.
It's quite-
and replacing her with someone who really is not very well known.
absolutely.
I mean, they're clearly they're banking on the numbers
Right, to
that
slide.
that almost better than 3-to-1
Right.
registration advantage that they can run the donkey. And
That's
and
a
have
pun, too, because
and
of-
have a shot
Right.
at getting it elected. So, but I mean, Hope and I think another young man by the name of Stephen Kovach are both seeking signatures
Right.
to force a primary.
Right.
And if they do that, I think either, if not both, have enough support
Sure.
within the community to displace somebody.
Sure, and to primary is their right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's everyone's right to do that. And I think by doing that, they're showing that they're not afraid of the machine and that they
Right.
feel that they should be on the slate.
And in a primary, the dynamic is a little bit different. I mean, there are a slate of 8 Democrats that have been nominated
Right.
by their town committee to run for Common Council, and you may have as many as 2 challenging. You don't have to beat all 8. You just have to finish in the top 8. In 8th place. If you
That's a
finish
whole
in
different
8th
ballgame.
place.
Right.
So you tend to things start happening where you almost get into an every man for himself
Yeah, lifeboat.
scenario where it's like, I don't care about anybody else, I just want to make sure
Right.
that I'm in that top 8.
And only Democrats can vote in that primary.
Right, and only
so
Dems
it's a
can
whole,
vote,
like you
so.
said, a different dynamic. But I wonder too, it's the Hope Casper question. I wonder, what happened? We're not privy to what happened, but somebody said in the paper, I think it was Tom Sarah, and he said that this is what happens when you don't agree with the mayor. That was his quote. And that's kind of scary, because you have said on the record about David Bauer, who was a councilman while you were mayor, you said he doesn't agree with me all the time, but he comes up to the office and we talk, and there's no
Right.
fisticuffs.
Exactly. I mean, you don't expect
You
that
can't.
somebody's always going to be in lockstep with you. The 4 Republicans that are on the council now, don't always vote the same way
That's impossible.
on everything.
Right.
I mean, at the last council meeting, Councilman Bauer didn't vote the way we did
Right.
on something. There are times when Councilwoman Russo-Driska doesn't vote in favor of or vote the way the rest of the Republicans do. There are times that I voted
Sure.
with the Democrats, and a couple of Republicans had voted against.
Sure.
So you take each item on the agenda one at a time.
Well, which is why all you guys, you've been elected to Common Council. Bob's on Zoning Board of Appeals, and which is why you're there. You look at the information, and yes, you talk to your team. It's it's called a caucus, but that doesn't mean you're going to vote like Seb said, lock and step. That would be ridiculous. If you did that every single time, I think we would be robots. We'd just program the button, and it can't be that way. Like for example, Zoning Board of Appeals the other night, we had the big Federal Express. And everybody was in step with that, because it was a logical move for Middletown to bring them here. It was a very good presentation. Bob, do you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I think we needed it, and I think the people where FedEx is going is a great place, because it's the center of the state, and I think they'll bring more people into our city.
Sure.
And into employment, and so I'm crossing my fingers that this will bring us bring a little more people into our city.
Right.
People are moving out because taxes are so high. I'm hope maybe this is a turning point of bringing people into our city and help our city grow. But like you can't, like I keep saying this, you can't keep borrowing from money when you don't have it. I mean, you
Right.
can write out a check for $100,000 and you only got $50,000. Where's the other 50 coming from? Well, the air. But I could remember back when there's a lot of issues that were into the city that we needed money, and our Giuliano says, here's what we need, and we were trying to balance our budget, and he was always concerned about our money. I mean, they really thought about the people that he was there for. I admire his judgment on things that he's done for the people, because I think he's a people's man. I mean, he really, and I'm telling you, everybody that I talked to about him, they really like him a lot, and they were even asked me this year. They told me this is up in Westfield and stuff. Is Giuliano going to run again? I don't know.
You're talking to Seth, you mean?
Yeah.
You're talking like he's not in the room. Because I'm not going to vote.
No, I'm not going to.
We're
But
joking.
no,
We joke.
but basically, everybody, everybody admires him.
Right.
He's done a great job as the mayor, and I think he's doing a great job as a councilman too.
Well, I
so
think
I'm
He
saying,
can't appoint you to anything.
As I said,
I'm trying to get pointers anyway.
I have enjoyed this term on the council.
Right.
As I said, it's a different view of things. You have to go about things differently
Sure.
than you do as mayor. And interestingly enough, coming up, the the paradigm shift is, this is all going to be for a 4-year term.
First time.
Next year, council and mayor will be elected to a 4-year term.
Some in town history.
And I think the council's organization hasn't been looked at in many, many years. And I think it's time, with a 4-year term, I think we have the opportunity to look at that and make the council more able to perform its duties. One of the reasons we talked about the blurred lines between the executive branch and the Common Council, one of the reasons those lines are so blurred is that all of our council committees dovetail with the city department.
Sure.
So it's like, here's the executive branch and what it does, and we have a committee for each executive branch department. So we end up becoming, maybe not by design, but in effect, these committees become the PR agencies and the advocates for those directors and those departments. Well, our job is not to perform executive duties. Our job is to be the fiscal authority and the entity that makes the laws
Right.
for the city. So our committees and commissions should really be geared to perform those functions, as opposed to
Sure.
to enable the executive branch to perform its. The executive branch will do its job, and it will go before whatever council, committee, or commissions it has to get what it needs, whether it be an ordinance written or whether it be funding.
Very good. I have a question for you, and I have a question for you. There has been a lot of talk about the department reorganization in town and so forth, and how it's supposed to save us a lot of money. But yet, at the end of the day, does it save us a lot of money?
Well, first off, we're not saving any money. The budget, the city's general fund budget, and I'm not talking about appropriations, that's a whole another ballgame. Just what we pass every May that we say this is what we're going to do, and this is how much we're going to spend, has gone up under Mayor Drew by $19 million a year. $5 million this year alone. When I came to office, the city's budget was about $130 million a year. It stayed right around $130 million a year for the entire time I was there. That's where I found it, that's where I left it. We're up to 148 something now. My last budget was 129.5.
And you said he's at
He's
148.
at 148.3, I think.
So what are we buying?
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that if, with all these, with the consolidations he's talked about, basically the only things he's consolidated was the personnel department and the city attorney's office. And then he took parks, the parks division, out of the park and rec department and moved that over to the public works department.
So it's like kind of like moving things around in your house,
Yeah.
but not making more space.
No,
Like-
right.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you're like throwing things out.
if those things were supposed to have resulted in a savings, then what he's basically saying is the budget would have even been higher
Which is,
than the 148 and change now.
yeah, I mean,
So, I think it's one of those things that we're saving money. Well, pardon me, but you're spending way more than you used to under the old way, so,
yeah.
unless you can point out where that additional spending is coming from and show me that it has absolutely nothing to do with what you claim are the producers of savings, then I can't believe that it's producing any savings.
I hate to use the term, but drinking the Kool-Aid, but a lot of people seem to drink the Kool-Aid about this issue. And who's checking the facts? The press doesn't really check the
No.
facts.
Well, I mean-
it's disappointing a little bit.
The mayor's been in better than 3 years. It'll be 4 in November.
Sure.
The grand list has not grown in
I
all
was
the
just
time
gonna bring
he's
up the
been.
grand list, actually.
Now, the grand list is the tax base.
Right.
That's what, it's the value of the property that's taxed. And there's been no real growth. And I'm not talking growth in terms of we're valuing something
Sure.
differently. I'm talking about new things that weren't there that are there now.
Right.
those things haven't happened. Now, this FedEx thing will certainly help,
Sure.
but there's been no real growth. As a matter of fact, there's been a drop in the grand list since he's been there. Well, if your tax base is not growing or shrinking, but your spending is higher, then you got a gap. Something's got to fill that
Sure.
gap.
Sure.
And basically, that gap has been filled with gimmicks.
Right, and you talked off the air about this, and you guys did too, that if an outside investor looks at our books, we want to come to Middletown and build, I don't know, Walmart. They look at it, they look at the budget, and they have their analyst guy come in, or woman, whoever, and they see the gimmicks. Now, do you really think they're going to say, let's go to Middletown? I mean, what do you think?
Not too many would. I mean, investors, developers, they're in it to make money. And if they look at our financial reports and they start tracking some of these gimmicks, they know that the time bomb is going to go off.
Because these people are trained to look at that.
Yeah,
They're not the
oh
average.
yeah, they look very carefully at
Right.
that. And if they know
Right.
by, this is going to come and
And a lot of these studies, right?
bite us,
Right.
then why would you come here? I think really what we need to do what the next council needs to do, because the council is what decides
Sure.
where the spending is going to be and how we're going to pay for things and what we're going to do. What we need to do is establish some stability. It's just not there right now.
Right. So,
I mean,
well,
that's what as mayor, that's what I tried to do. I've tried to present budgets that were stable.
Sure.
That, for one thing, were real, that didn't rely on gimmicks.
Right.
That relied on real money.
Which is why your budget stayed at 129, 130.
You know,
But what do you think, Councilwoman? How do we expand the grand list, right? And how do we avoid gimmicks in the future? But you can't go in the time machine here, but, or if you could, what would you do different?
Well, I think the bonding is out of control. I have, I'm afraid for the referendum and the parks thing coming up where they might want to bond or
Sure.
possibly bond for $35 million.
When you say
That's a
bond, will you
lot.
just tell my audience what that means by a bond? Because sometimes.
That's borrowing money.
Got it.
That's borrowing money and paying it back in.
Okay.
Now, part of the gimmick stuff is when you borrow the money, you get a premium for borrowing the money.
as long as we sell premium bonds, we'll qualify for bond
But
premiums.
they have used that premium to boost
Right.
the budget
Mm.
for that particular year. But you still have to pay that back too.
And
from what-
I would assume the interest fluctuates depending on.
Right.
Right, and pretty much, there's the coupon rate, which is the face amount of that bond, and then there's the effective rate. You'll hear the administration, the Democrats tell you that we're borrowing money at less than 2%. But they arrive at that less than 2% figure by rolling the bond premium, the upfront payment that we get from the brokers. And this year it was $5 million. Now, again, the budget went up by $5 million. The taxes didn't go up, and we got a bond premium of $5 million. You can connect the dots yourself
Right.
out there and figure out how we didn't get a tax increase. But that 1.95% effective interest rate is taking into account that $5 million up front. The check we write every year to the bondholders is based on the coupon rate, which is more like 4.5, 5.
So it's a
Right.
lot. It's a lot higher than the
right.
people tell you.
If the city had taken that $5 million and put it in the designated fund balance and said, what we're going to do with that $5 million is every year,
Sure.
we're going to take enough of that money
To cover.
to actually reduce the effective interest we're paying
Right.
this year to 1.9%, then that line they feed you, that talking point, would make some money, would make some sense, it would actually be accurate.
Hold that thought. I think we have a call. Our first call of the night, and director in there, why don't you get the DVD ready? Because after this call, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll see Geno at 8:50. I know. Hello, you're on live TV with Seb Giuliano, Bob Stefarak, Jon Pulino, and Linda Salafia.
Hi, you guys. It's
Hello.
Deb. How's your show going? I'm out of town, but I'm calling in to support you all.
Debbie, you're the best.
Aren't I, though? So now let's make sure people vote.
Absolutely. Debbie, where are you now? What town?
I am in Old Saybrook.
Wow, Katharine Hepburn's old stomping grounds.
Yes,
And-
meeting with my partner, just going over some stuff that you were important enough to solve.
Right. Do you have a question for any of the panel, or for me, or comments?
Well, I think a comment. One of the most important things that the residents of Middletown have to understand this election is we cannot afford any more unreasonable spending, particularly on investigations and job studies.
Sure.
Okay.
Hey,
That's over 100
yeah.
grand right there, almost 200.
we're all nodding our heads, and we've been talking about fiscal conservatism. Anyway, move on. So yeah, we do agree with
Not
that.
like we don't believe in spending. We're all proponents of the parks. Plus our parks can
talking about,
become
yeah.
income. The new animal shelter, again, income.
Right.
And we have control over these things.
Well, Councilwoman Debbie Klikowski, how would you expand the grand list in 1 minute or less?
Expanding the grand list. One, making sure our economic development guy, Tom Moran, gets out there like he is doing and bringing Middletown to developers. Two, keeping taxes low. And three, highlighting all the arts, cultures, and the school system that we have.
Wow, you thought that out, didn't you, Councilwoman?
And the other thing I might add is I sit on the advisory board for the Career and Technical Education, and I just received some information from Dave Reynolds, and Middletown High placed hands above schools like Simsbury with programming, with DECA, with Bluetooth, with video, with television, with radio. So we have a lot to offer in our career and tech ed classes, which, by the way, is school to career and getting people out in the workforce, and entrepreneurs building their own businesses.
You're very enthusiastic tonight, Councilwoman.
We just want them to open their businesses in Middletown.
Right.
If we're going to train them and they go someplace
These
else
are
because
homegrown people.
they can't
have
afford to
these
stay
kids.
here, then we don't get any
am
return on
also
that
a judge
investment.
For DECA. I mean, we had 2 international winners. Where was that highlighted?
No, I agree with that, but I think what the Councilman Giuliano was saying, we need to be a magnet to keep people. We need to train them,
Absolutely.
and
We
want
will be a magnet when we get our parks up and running,
Sure.
when we stop spending frivolously on investigations that didn't have to happen.
Right, but
And also a job study where people don't even go, the consultants don't even meet with the people, and yet they charge us $90,000 for what?
sure.
When they say an EMT dispatch or a dispatcher doesn't need to make as much money as a linesman, there's something seriously flawed. And $90,000 for that is
Right.
reprehensible. And furthermore, we should not have paid that bill.
Absolutely, but on that note, I think we also need, we need young business here. We need people to, settle here and start a business and create jobs, and we need the government to help these people a little bit. Have a program or get them
We
going.
need the government. We do have programs. We have a $2,000 revolving loan. We have CDBG monies that can
Sure.
help startup businesses. What we don't need is our government interfering and hiring people that make $15 million mistakes.
Right.
And there should be repercussions for that. And again, was anyone fired? Was anyone have a reprimand in their file? No.
Wow. But on that note, Councilwoman Klikowski, who's in Old Saybrook right now, we're going to say goodbye, say adieu,
Okay.
and we'll see you soon.
Okay. I bid adieu to you too.
You okay? And keep smiling.
I will. Thank you very much for taking my call, and
You're
I'll see you
welcome.
next time. I'll certainly see everybody on the campaign trail.
Yep.
Right.
And don't forget to mention the fundraiser on the
Can't-
23rd
we
of
can't.
August at Lake
We're
Park.
not,
We can't.
it's television. We can't mention it on this.
Oh, sorry.
Put it on
Forget
Facebook.
to be there at
Put-
Cypress
yeah.
on the 23rd.
Check
Be
on-
someplace, see our Facebooks on the 23rd.
Just check Facebook and you'll see what we're doing.
Yep. Bye, Debbie.
Yep.
Just hung up on her. Yep. Anyways,
Call you back.
Facebook, by the way, all of us here have Facebook pages. So Jon Pulino, you type in John and then Pulino. And then Linda Salafia, you type in
Sloppy.
Bob Stefarak. Is it Robert or Bob? Robert, because your son is,
Yeah.
you don't
I
want
think
to
he's on his Bob.
And you're Sebastian. And Mayor Giuliano is Sebastian Giuliano. So
Yeah.
you can contact us that way
You
too.
can follow us on Twitter if you
Yeah.
want.
Facebook is great. It really is. In order to be organized. Yeah,
John,
Bob.
I hate to interrupt you, but,
No, go ahead.
you know, Billy's show, the variety show, your show, The Edge, the Diner, I've been watching it for a few times since they put it on. And I'm saying, you know, we keep asking people, we give you the number, we keep asking you, if you have any problems, you have any questions to any of the people that are here now, call. We would like to have what your output, what you need, or what we can do to help you out. They want to run for office, they want to work hard for you, and I'm saying the only way they're going to do that is you people got to start doing it yourself too. Dial that number and ask questions. That's the only way you're going to solve any of our problems. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. And actually, Bob, I do get a lot of calls, but not on the air as much as I used to, but I do get a lot of calls at home, interestingly enough, about issues. And it's funny because I'm on the zoning board of appeals with you.
Right.
I'm on the board of assessment appeals, and I'm also on the cable advisory board. And when people see your name, they really believe that you can solve any problem. And the thing is, you can't. I'm not a councilman, and I'm not the mayor. But yet people will come up to me and, you know, they'll say, well, you, I would assume that would be plural, I don't know, or you need to do this about the parking. I don't work for the park. I just do my little offices and I do them well. I'm very diligent. But, you know, if you want something done, you need to complain to the right people. And, you know, grassroots is a good way to do that. Or complain. Go to the mayor, go to the school board, go to the common council, go to the appropriate boards and complain. You know, think about your comments ahead of time, or don't, I guess, but, you know, if your objective is to fix the parking situation, come in with a solution. But, you know, telling me on the street is great, and I don't mind listening, because I like to get out of my house sometimes and talk to people, but, you know, I tell you, go to these boards.
And I tell them, call on the phone. The phone won't. We won't. They take your picture.
Well,
not yet, but they're
No, not
working
yet.
at
No,
it.
no,
But
no, no.
basically, you know, call. I mean, I think it's more important for us to get some calls to find out what they need.
Sure, we take calls. Every show
Right.
that I've been on, the Bauer Hour, that's a Republican show, Middletown Perspective, The Edge, The Diner, you mentioned the Variety Hour, the show tonight, we take calls. We do the best we can do with that. And now with social media, I do have a lot more people interacting with me, which is great. And these shows will be replayed on the social media. But we're gonna go to commercial, and then we're gonna go back. Geno's gonna take Bob's seat, and we're gonna switch. So we're gonna go to commercial. It's a public service announcement for the Oddfellows Playhouse, which is a great, great organization in town. The Cable Advisory Board paid for this, so we're showing it. And we'll be back in about 4 minutes. See you in 4 minutes.
I like coming to Oddfellows because the people are absolutely great and I have so much fun.
Whether it be a production for little kids or for the teenagers, it's always high quality work.
The experience that I'm probably most proud of is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I had a great cast and the set was amazing.
I find Oddfellows a great family experience.
Oddfellows Playhouse.
Promoting the growth of
Young people through the
Performing arts.
"37 years ago, Oddfellows Playhouse was started by 4 Wesleyan students as a community theater program for young people. Since that time, Oddfellows has grown into Connecticut's largest youth theater, serving over 31 towns throughout central and southern Connecticut. Nearly 2,000 young people a year come through the doors of Oddfellows, where they make friends, learn about their community, and learn about themselves.
It gives them confidence to be leaders. It gives them confidence to work with other people. It offers a whole experience where they grow as people.
At Oddfellows, we run programming year-round for students as young as age 3 all the way up till age 20 in the performing arts. Oddfellows offers a technical theater program for middle school and high school students.
The great thing about theater is it's one of the last places in modern society where everyone's dependent on one another, getting everyone to collaborate together, from backstage crew to the kids who are actually doing the performances. Everyone's a key part of the program.
The teen repertory program is for our high school students. The Summer Shakespeare Academy is a 4-week intensive for high school students where they're immersed in the world of Shakespeare.
You get legitimate training. You learn how to say things eloquently, and you just have a great time, and you meet so many different types of people.
What she just said clears up what his story, what happened after his story, right? Oh, so you have to.
In stage combat class, I learned how to fall correctly, making it look like I'm actually pushed, but it's all in my control. Like throwing punches and making sure that the people who are being punched are the ones in control. David, our instructor, is really fun and really great, and he is really good at teaching us because when he first taught us the things, it was sort of a just watch me and then you do, and then slowly we just became more and more comfortable with it, and he would add more things, and so it was very easy to pick up on.
Good.
Nice.
That looks really good. So just make sure you don't flex the foot. You keep the toe pointed, and you're sending that energy up. And you can go up with quite a bit of it.
The Junior Repertory Program is for middle school students in grades 6 through 8. Troops and Arts Explorers is an after-school multi-arts program for at-risk youth. Little Fellows is our newest program. It's for students aged 4 through 7. It's a 2-week multi-arts program involving dance, storytelling, movement, acting, and visual arts.
I really like doing drawing and crafts. We write stories and then draw pictures about them.
And we're just trying to give them fun things to take home so that they can really feel accomplished.
Our first ACT program is offered on Saturdays for preschool and kindergarten students. Our Stage 1 program is for grades 1 through 3. Students begin with Complete Actor 1, where they learn the basics of acting, and then their next program is a mini production. Our Stage 2 programs are for grades 4 through 5. Students begin with Complete Actor 2, and then their next class is a mini production. The Children's Circus is a 5-week half-day program where students are exposed to circus skills, including clowning, juggling, stilting, unicycling, and acrobatics. It culminates in an outdoor circus show for an audience of over 1,500 people. If you want to know more about our classes and programs and see how they fit with your schedule, check out our website at oddfellows.org.
Oddfellows Playhouse.
When you come here, it's like a world of fun.
They learn so quickly because the teachers are just really good at bringing out their strengths.
It's been a wonderful experience for all of us.
I thought it would be a wonderful opportunity where he could meet other children and be creative at the same time.
Oddfellows offers a variety of programs for children ages 4 to 20.
Oddfellows Playhouse.
Promoting the growth
of young people
through the performing arts.
On the Variety Hour, this is Billy Wilson's show, and that's why I have Billy Wilson on the phone right now. Billy Wilson, you're on live TV.
Are you sure it's live?
Billy, I'm not going to answer that question. How are you?
I am good. How are you? Thank you for holding down the fort tonight while I'm at work.
Yeah. Did you see the Fantastic Four?
I have not. I have watched the previews, and I've got some head counts, and I watched the first couple minutes of it. Looks good at the beginning, so I don't know.
Nice. Question. Yes. Actually, don't answer the question. I was going to say, what superhero metaphor would describe the current political climate of the Middletown Common Council right now? That's...
Deadpool?
Oh, my God. Oh, my Billy. That's crazy, Billy. Anyways, Billy, how are you? What do you want to ask? I have Linda Salafia. I have former Mayor Giuliano, Councilman Giuliano here. Geno is now sitting in with the panel. And what's your question, Billy Wilson?
Oh, calling to see. I was just calling to see how everybody was doing. How many calls you've had tonight?
2. Counting you or not counting you?
Just me? Just me?
No, you're the second call.
Well, it is a slow.
No, you're the second
year,
one.
And I guess the big thing I want to say is I want to remind people that the 20th that there's an opening. Sandra has her headquarter opening on the 20th of August.
Mm-hmm.
And also that we have a candidates fundraiser.
No,
I can't say the price.
no, don't go there.
We can't, I don't think.
I'm not going to go there with the price. Don't worry.
You can't.
Forget.
I'm not going to do it. I could say we're having a function at Cypress on August 23rd.
Boy. Wake the kids, phone the neighbors.
No,
all we need is don't need Dan Russo calling us.
If you want more information, go to Middletown CT GOP page on Facebook, or you can call the show afterwards, and John will give you any information you need.
Go on Facebook and you can find out everything we're doing.
Well, I just got to throw that out there. Wanted to see if there's. I know we got motorcycle mania coming up
next
on
week.
Wednesday. We have an important P&Z meeting on Tuesday.
Sure.
I'm trying to think what else is coming up. That's about it. I mean, just want to let people know, remember to vote, not lever B, but vote row B.
Row B.
Row B.
Yeah.
We're on B this time.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, I just wanted to call and check in. Gary's holding down the fort very good by himself.
Oh, yeah. You weren't here in the beginning, though, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, well, and Bob's in there helping him out now, so that was very nice of him.
Bob did a good job on the show, and we talked about the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the ZBA meeting, which was important. You guys got 2 things coming back to you guys. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, you were at the meeting. Yes, we do. You were there. You know that.
Yep. And then I was going to ask Councilman Seb Giuliano, any more? I mean, I'm just curious. Anything else going on a referendum besides the $15 million for the sewer plant?
You might see a $35 million bond question to do all of the parks renovations.
Okay, and that will be done over time. That
Oh,
won't be
yeah,
done
I mean,
in
you
1
can't-
year, so people don't freak out.
No,
It
you
will be
can't.
done
Actually, you
over
can't. One of the things you got to
period of
understand.
time.
One of the things you have to understand about bonding is once you sell the bond,
Yeah.
you have to be working within 2 years on the project.
Right.
Otherwise, the federal government, which makes these bonds, the people that invest in municipal bonds, the interest on those bonds is tax exempt. In order to make that an attractive investment, so people will basically help towns and cities do capital projects. What the federal government doesn't want us doing is selling the bond and then investing the money ourselves because the interest rate is so low, and basically sitting on all that cash. That's not the purpose of the bonding law. So yeah, a project to do every park in the city, there's no way you're going to be able to do that in 1 year anyway.
No.
So that would be, as time goes by, it's, a lot of times like we'll pass road bonds and it may be 10 years before we sell that bond and work on that road.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't mean it's all going to hit you at once.
Right.
I mean,
That's
we couldn't do
what
it
I
at
want
once
people
if we
find out,
wanted
because
to.
you know when they hear the $35 million, they hear the $15 million. I know we had some appropriations that have come out that have been, that we're paying on to right now. What was the appropriations for this last meeting in August? What was it about?
Well, mainly most of the appropriations were small amounts. The one big one was to fund the police private duty account.
Right.
Because, if police are hired to do private duty, the city pays them.
Right.
And then the city goes and collects, goes and bills the private party for that. But you can't tell the police officers, well, we're not going to pay you until the private party pays us.
Right.
So,
that makes sense, because that would not be good. I have a question on that. Do we, as a city, make out in those deals most of the time? Do we do okay in those deals?
And it's kind of break even. It's kind
break even? Okay.
It's kind of break even.
I don't mind if we break even. As long as we don't lose, I'm fine with breaking even.
Yeah, I mean, it's
one of those things that has to be done.
It's got to be done, and I really think, I don't know that anybody's taken a good long look at that. Like Councilman Bauer, who's not here, always says we don't do cost accounting in Middletown. Right. So, I mean, in terms of are there real costs involved in that program that we're not recouping? Could very well be, but nobody's looked at that to find out. That's another reason to vote the Republican slate in. We want to look at stuff like that. We want to really, do more than just scratch the surface of this process so we can really be accurate about what we're doing.
And I want to remind people, too, out there that we want to plan for the future. It seems like we do planning for the 1 year, but I know that we have talked as a party and as an undertaking, we've talked about planning for 5 years in the future, something that we really haven't done before in the past, or when we've tried it, it's never been done. So this is something I want people to realize out there that are watching right now, that we want to plan for our future. We want to do things for the future, not just do for the here and now because we want to get our names in the paper.
Of course. Exactly. There's life after elective office in Middletown, at least for most of us. And, we're not passing through.
You're leaving to go someplace else, but we won't talk about.
Right. We're not just passing through here. I mean, we were here before we held elective office. We'll be here after. And we're going to live with the decisions we make. And what's more, our children are going to live with the decisions we make. And, you know, you've got to be responsible about that. It can't all be about what's good for me, what furthers my political career, what helps me get elected.
Right.
Or what helps me move on to a higher office.
Well, and my big point would be, I guess, is that with the riverfront, and I think riverfront is so important, and we can't nilly-willy it. We can't go in there and do things half-baked. We have to go in there and have a good plan, because this could be a project for the next 50 to 100 years, and you can't just do it to get a shovel in the ground to make it look for the newspapers. We have to do something that's good and right.
Billy.
Yes.
Geno has, you want to talk to Billy?
Yeah, what's going on, Bill?
Not much, Geno. How's your show going?
It's going okay. You know, just a little bit of slow going, but I'm trying. And, you know, and I like what you and Mr. Giuliano are talking about there. You know, what's important to remember in politics, it's the people before publicity. You know, I mean, yeah, it's great to, you know, get yourself out there, but don't do so at the expense of the people. I mean, after all, it's them that they're working for. You know, it's, I mean, I'm new to the whole politics game myself, but it's, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it's like we work for them, but we work for them. They don't work for us. You know, type of deal, right?
Well, they work for us. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We are the taxpayers. They're beholden to us. Sometimes I think they forget that. Some people do at least. And I don't want to hold you guys up any longer. I know you guys only got about 9 minutes left in the show.
So
I have to get back in and do some. I wanted to call.
Okay.
How everybody's doing.
All right, text me later.
You were right. See you later, and I will talk to you about 9:15 or so.
Okay, Billy.
I'll talk to you later, guys.
All
Have a
right,
good
take care,
night.
Billy. Yep, you too.
That was Billy Wilson on the phone. This is his show. He's the co-chairperson of the Republican Town Committee.
Yeah.
Very vocal.
Yes.
Very vocal, enthusiastic chairperson. And we need a little shot in the arm on that one. I want to formally introduce Geno. He's on my far right. He's in the Jock Ewing cowboy hat. That was a Jim Davis joke.
People actually tell me that I look like Hank Williams Jr. in this hat.
What do you think?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So,
wish I had his money.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Geno, you're 20 years old, right?
I'm 20, but I feel I'm 20, but I feel 80.
Well, let's put that aside for a second. But see, we're older, and obviously you're younger. My point is, what's your whole take on the whole politics for a younger person? You know, do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Do you study it? Do you read it? Do you not read it? And why?
Well, you know, the whole thing on politics is just this for me. It's not something I would bring up at parties or on a date, you know, especially a first date. But, you know, I just want to let people know I am a conservative. I do believe in I believe in old-fashioned values, you know. I mean, my stance, you know, and I don't know if I'm allowed to, you know, give my political stances, my political views on here, but, you know, like, you know, I was watching the GOP debate last night, and
good segue. Good segue.
Yeah, I was watching the GOP debate last night, and it really, you know, enthralled me, you know. And this,
who's your favorite?
Well, I sort of liked what Rubio was saying. It was a toss-up between Rubio and Huckabee last night for me. I mean, you know, but watching that debate last night, you know, it would put Vince McMahon to shame, because, you know, that was better than any WrestleMania I've ever seen.
Well, hold that thought, because I've watched debate.
Watched it.
I watched debate after debate. I taped it, and I got to tell you, usually after a while, it becomes the same old. Every guy is the same. You know, then you can envision what Saturday Night Live will do. But last night, it had some juice. You know, you had Governor
Christie and who was that other guy?
Rand Paul.
Yeah, they were basically fighting each other's heads off.
Right.
Yeah, they have very different views on.
But see, that's what gets the people engaged, is seeing, you know, because see, that shows how strongly, how passionate they feel about this stuff. I mean, if you're just sitting there like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what. No, you have to say, all right, you have to go neck and neck with people on things, you know, and you have to show them, you know, because that's how you market yourself. Sure. You market yourself by showing your passion for the product.
So what about Linda? Linda, did you watch the debates last night?
I tried to watch the debates.
Uh-oh. Did Molly call with a problem?
No. We've cut the cable.
and we
Oh,
cut
right.
the dish.
You-
So
you-
I have
you thought it was
just.
on Fox, regular Fox.
I couldn't get it on
on Fox
TV.
News.
It was on
Fox
Fox News.
Connecticut did not have.
No, it was on Fox News. You had to go on.
didn't- So I tried to watch it online.
So,
So I missed a major portion of it
Right.
because I couldn't get it, and then
sure it's on YouTube
it
now.
buffered out.
Gino, go
Yeah.
ahead.
But the one thing I didn't like, and this is my opinion. I mean, I don't get what it is, in the conservative, at least the conservative media, is that all Republicans have to love Donald Trump. I consider myself a Republican, but yet I don't kiss the ground that Donald Trump walks on. And let me tell you something about Trump here is that I don't like the man. I've been very vocal about that on at least my program. And what he said to Megyn Kelly last night was deplorable and unacceptable. He should not have gone out there and used that podium to attack her. And I think that could actually hurt him in the election,
Well,
as his stance on what they have coined as the war on women.
Well,
He was worse. I mean, he doubled down on it today. I think today he called her a bimbo. And it's like, and here's a guy who is supposedly stood up there and said that he's going to be the guy to stand up to Putin. He's going to be the guy to negotiate better deals with the Chinese, the Iranians, deal with the Mexicans, and he can't handle
The lady.
the questions this woman was asking him. Those are two concepts. That's a conundrum. Those are they don't match.
Hey, on that note, go ahead, finish your statement.
But I think there were some surprises. I think Ted Cruz was surprisingly subdued last night. I expected more fireworks out of him. I agree with you. I thought Rubio did very well. I think Ben Carson finished very strong.
Person to go in. I
thought John Kasich did well.
Yes.
I mean, it's become established. We've had an actor as president, but that's like been the biggest stress. But having a neurosurgeon as president, is kind of.
Who's the actor? Jimmy Carter, right?
No.
I know.
No, it's Barack Obama.
Nice. I was waiting for. Hey, we got about 2.5 minutes, so I want to do final word. Okay. So final word.
Well, final word is you've seen a couple of the people that are going to be running on the Middletown Republican ticket this year. And as I said, this is a game-changing election. It's for a 4-year term. There are a lot of things that need to be done, and I think our 8, if you put our 8 in, those decisions will get made. And don't forget, the top of our ticket, Sandra Russo-Driska for mayor. I think she's. She bleeds Middletown.
Yes.
She's born, raised here, brought up her children here. She's Middletown through and through. Let's put the city back in the hands of the people who will fall on their sword for it, and I think that's what we've got on the Republican ticket.
Those are great, valiant words. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but those are great, valiant words, Mr. Giuliano.
Thank you.
You're fine. I agree with everything he said, and I think it's time. We need to change the makeup of the council.
Sure.
And it's going to be a long 4 years if we do.
Gino, final word, and then back to me, and then.
Well, the thing is that, you were asking me earlier what my stance is, as a young person on politics. Well, let me tell you something. I'm announcing this right on the air, is that this year I'm going to register to vote, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to cast my vote for these lovely people here on the board here, because I think they're well deserving of it, because they actually care about this town, and they're going to do right by this town. Because before these people entered the picture, I never really cared for Middletown, to be honest. But now with these people, they're going to turn it around and make me proud.
When's your show on? When is plug your show?
My show is on Friday evenings from 7 to 8. Okay. It's actually the show that precedes the Variety Hour. That's Gino in the evening from 7 to 8 p.m. If they could flash my graphics, my Facebook is www.facebook.com/official Geno Cuddy. And you can also follow me on Twitter, @officialGenoC. I'm an actor, I'm an ASM artist, I'm multi-talented, I think I'm multifaceted, I have very strong beliefs.
I like the hat.
And I have a hat, that'll take me places, so, yeah.
All right, thank you. No, thank you, Gino. Yeah, we got to wrap it up. I'm Jon Pulino. I'm a candidate for Common Council. I'm a talk show host. I don't have a hat, but Bob Stefrak will be on this stage next week with Seb Giuliano. I've been invited, so I'll see you then. See you then, and then The Edge is coming on again. Lots going on. Check the Facebook pages. We have a great slate. We're taking 8. We're very enthusiastic. Wake up, Linda. We're taking it all.